of advice could you give from all your experience?
One bit of advice is a bit restrictive.
It is. As much advice as you like. Give it to us all, John. Give us all your wisdom here.
Okay. First thing, remember God values your ministry. Yeah. That message may not come through in your church.
Yes.
If it does, that's great. But if it doesn't, God values your ministry. So what you're doing is of value in the kingdom.
Yeah.
So that is the foundational thing I think I'd want to say. Yeah. And then don't be frightened to be a fool for God. I.e., be passionate, put the chairs straight, as we were talking about. We laughed about it. Yeah. Other people may laugh at you, but let them. Yeah. And whatever you do, can I introduce the word reliability?
Yes.
We live in an age where we ask people to do things and very often it doesn't happen. And a Christian administrator has to be proved to be trusted and to be reliable. Mm-hmm. And therefore devise systems for yourself. I mean, I've got a rotten memory, but if I slip up on something that I'm supposed to remember, it ruins my entire ministry. So I have to invent systems for myself and writing things down and stuff like that.
Yes.
I had to remember to log on at 10 o'clock this morning, to this. So I have an alarm clock going at 9:45, because I'm in the middle of something else and I'm passionate about it, So don't be afraid to do that. But I want to say, even if your church doesn't respect it, this is Christ's work.
Yes.
For his kingdom. And your satisfaction needs to be not in people praising you, mm-hmm. but in people praising the one who's now been set free to do the work that they couldn't have done if you hadn't done your stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's humbling, but actually it's deeply satisfying.
Yeah.
If it burns in you about how this ministry for God can enable somebody else to shine. Let them shine. Mm. God gets the glory. You'll be rewarded in due course.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to see it through that lens, don't you? Yeah. Living for the glory of God, living for the audience of one is one way that you could describe it. And remind yourself of that, isn't it? And fuel yourself on the gospel. It's so easy to put the gospel aside and think about all the practical things that I need to do. But actually, the gospel fuels everything that we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
And making those connections to the gospel is so important.
Yeah. But also meet up with other administrators. Link in with the church office. Do things like that, because that'll encourage you and support you and help you see you're not alone.
Yeah.
And so often, when we first started our ministry back in all those years ago, each administrator was on their own. They knew of nobody else doing stuff like they were doing. And even in the valleys of South Wales, that can be true too. And I've done plenty of work in the valleys, in churches there. And administration is not necessarily the thing that comes to the fore in many of those little chapels and churches. So if you're on your own doing something like this, do link up. Through you, Gavin, I think you're doing brilliant work in Wales.
Thank you.
And I would want to say, link up with others, be part of a network. That's why UCAN is there to encourage and help other people, and realize that you're part of a huge team that you may not have realized existed.
Yeah. Yes.
They're there in God's army.